your feet up for an hour and tune into the Red and Blue Review. Nick, Ian, Jill, and the crew are waiting to hear from you, so get those comments in.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and I hope it's a warmer welcome to you than it was at Sellers Park yesterday afternoon. Warm welcome to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott. I'm your host for the next hour. We're going to be chewing the cud over everything that happened at Sellers Park yesterday afternoon, and we're going to be touching on stuff that's going on in the transfer window and other news from around the club. I'm shortly going to be joined by my panel. Who's going to be up first? It's Lord Noble from Noble Manors down in Sussex. Ian, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, Nick. I'm not too bad at all. Are you well?
I'm well, thank you. And you're chipper. I don't know how you could be chipper after the bloody weather yesterday.
Well, I've been chipper because I've been seeing some stuff online lately, and you seem to be the new face of TV, don't you, Nigel? You got something there in the background?
Don't start. What are you up to?
Look at the face of the interviewer when he asked Nick if he will take the deal to have his limbs cut off.
I'll tell you, you two got too much time on your hands.
How good was that? So what is it you said? You're going to give your right arm to have what? Was it?
Elise Zaha. We've got other people to introduce yet. Elise Zaha and Eze in their prime playing for Palace right now.
And you'd give your right arm for that?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. Right. Okay. Who else is going? Where's Jimbo? Nice. Bring him up, please, mate. Because I can't leave him sitting on the sidelines.
I'm here.
How are you, mate? Welcome.
I'm very well. How are you?
Well, apart from having the piss taken out of me every week on my own show now, okay, I'm fine, mate. Jim, lovely to see you, mate. We had a conversation. Could we briefly touch on it? We had a conversation yesterday, and on behalf of everybody on the Red and Blue Review family, those that you saw in the stands yesterday, brilliant. Kenny Sampson was in the house yesterday. On behalf of Red and Blue Review and everybody connected us, can we all send our love and best wishes to the fella? He's not been very well. He hasn't been very well for a little while now, but we are thinking of you. If somebody can pass this on to the fella, tell him from us, we wish him well and we're sending our love. Also joining us this evening is Paul Gear. Now, Jim, before we came on air, we were talking about you getting accosted outside by one of the fans and a photograph being shared. I understand, Paul Gear, you also accosted somebody. Oh, my God. You accosted our manager outside. And do you know the result of this accosting, or whatever they call it, the hassling you're giving? Nigel, bring the next picture up. This is the result of what? That's the result of meeting Paul Gear outside the stadium, ladies and gentlemen. If you see this man, avoid him at all costs. So you're not the only body that can do it, Noble. I can do it as well.
He looked like he was wearing your coat then, Paul, didn't he, at the end? He lent you your coat.
Well, as I say, he got out of his car, came straight over to me, asked if he could have a picture with me. I was honoured. It was great. And he's obviously taking my fashion tips as well. It's wonderful.
Right, okay.
You'll be wearing a Rolex sweater next, mate, I tell you.
Listen, I need to say hello to everybody in the chat. I can see you all scrolling through. Andrew, Mark, Keith, I can see you out there. Phillips, I know you're there. Mark Callahan, there's loads of you out there. Thank you for joining us. It was a tough watch yesterday. Let us make no bones about it. I told the guys a story before we went on air that at the turnstiles yesterday afternoon, I'd walked up the Holmesdale Road and I was freezing cold. I was soaked through to the bone. I tapped my season ticket. I went through the turnstile and honest to God, I was so cold and so wet. I considered literally turning around and not even going up the steps into the stand. I was that cold. It was awful. And of course, I think it probably is about another 20,000 people feeling exactly the same way. And the performance on the pitch also echoed my feeling as well. It was just a poor afternoon. But we will get on to that in a minute. So coming up on tonight's show, we are going to be touching on the transfer window. If you look at the question I put up, those of you watching on YouTube, you'll see that I've posed a question, or I've given you notification ahead. Here it is, it's on screen now. That I will be asking a bit of a bombshell question later on during the show. The guys are completely unprepared. I want your thoughts on it. So stick with us through the show. Okay, we will get to that later on. People are going to think I'm nuts. People are going to think I'm mad. That's fine. You can have your own opinions. Paul's out there. Simon, I can see you, mate. Dave is out there. Good evening to each and every one of you, wherever you are watching in the world. We're going to get straight into it, if you don't mind, Ian. Let's go in and cover the game, and we'll get on to some other bits later on.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, it was a hard watch, wasn't it? There's no doubt about it. And, you know, the conditions on the day didn't help our mood either, did it? As you've already touched upon. Let's get the team up, Nigel, if we can, first of all. So this is the lineup. No real surprises. We knew before this was announced that both Cheick Doucouré and Chadi Riyad were missing. We've since learnt that Riyad's got an ACL probably, and he's likely to be out for longer. Doucouré, again, it's a knee problem. We don't know much about his injury. But, you know, this is a side. Henderson in goal, Munoz, Mitchell wing-backs, and then our only three fit centre-backs, Richards, Lacroix and Gahey. Lerma and Hughes in the middle of the park. Sarr, Eze and Mateta, a front three. And the bench there, well, you know, there's not a lot on the bench. The other week I said, oh, it's not a bad bench, you know, but suddenly it's looking a little bit threadbare again with a couple of the kids on the bench. Yeah, we kick off in horrible conditions. I don't know. It was a tough watch right from the off. As they got a shot away early on, he scuffed it, and it went past the right hand side of the post in front of the White Horse Lane end. There was a moment of class quite early on for us, I think, when Hughes played the ball through to Eze. The most wonderful, delicate of flicks. If you haven't seen it back, it really was a special touch from Eze. Onto Mateta. He picks the ball up on the edge of the box and he looks up and he gets his shot away. But it's a nice height for Flecken. It's well saved. And you can't help thinking that if he hit it along the floor in the corner, he scores. But, you know, he's got seconds to think about it. He's a striker in form. And you think, well, this could be our day. Good opportunity early on, guys. Did you think that he could have done better with that chance, Paul, Jim? Thoughts?
Well, I mean, when he's through on goal like that, you always hope that he's going to smack it in the corner. But, I mean, it's a decent shot. As you say, it was probably just the right height for the keeper. If it can go either side of him, it's going to make it more difficult. But it was quite
especially
straight.
under those conditions. Especially under those conditions.
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. If he fizzes it along the ground, he scores probably. But you know, he as I said, it's a nice height for the keeper. But it was a big chance and one that we could and should have scored maybe. I think we got caught out playing out from the back a few times shortly after that. You know, a lot of teams do it, but you know, we tend to, you know, if you get the ball comes at you, you're under pressure. You flick the pass, sort of hoping for the best, and sometimes that's how you lose possession easily when playing out from the back. And there was an occasion shortly after that when we did get caught out like that, and the ball finds its way to Wissa on the edge of the box, and he gets his shot away, and Henderson saves really, really well. That was sort of 1-1 in big chances, really, in my mind. Lacroix then got booked fairly early on. Again, the bloke comes charging forward. I didn't think it was a booking. I thought it was probably a foul. Yeah, fine, he catches the player. But booking for you, Paul? What do you reckon? For me, I thought it was hard.
I didn't think it was a booking, but as I say, the ref was on a different planet yesterday, wasn't he, on a lot of occasions? So, but yeah, it was a tackle. He did catch him, but yeah, no, strange booking.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, and when you've got one of your centre halves then on a yellow card, you know, a quarter of the way through the game, it's not easy, Jim, is it? You know, do you change how you play the game then? Do you think once you're on a yellow?
Yeah, well, you can't take any chances, can you? So you're in your mind, you're not getting in the way you would normally go in, just in case. Especially, like Paul said there, the referee. Some of these referees are on a different planet. I mean, obviously, that was the same guy that ruled out Eze's goal against Brentford, wasn't it? Where he blew right away. I think it was the same referee.
Different chap.
When we played away. It was a
different ref, Jim. It was different.
Was
ref.
it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm pretty sure we can check it out.
Yeah, I'm not going to help you. You're probably right. But I get the feeling watching it now. I get really annoyed. I mean, I've always got annoyed at referees, but in general, they it just seems nowadays they just want to book everybody. You know, not every tackle is a booking. Free kicks, not a problem. There's lots of occasions there. It's just a free kick, but they seem intent on bringing. But the minute they do that, they spoil the game because people's attitude, players' attitude, slightly changes, and obviously it puts the onus on the other team, and then they want to get that player sent off. So as soon as there's a little touch or a tackle, they're rolling around hoping that there'll be another yellow card and they're sending off. So the standard refereeing in the Premier League is abysmal at the moment. And I know you like to go on about me and how I feel about referees. But
in the chat, they're saying it here. It's
just sitting around watching it. And it's not just that guy. And the worst thing is these VAR. I mean, the Arsenal sending off the other day, the young lad. It was absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, the sad fact is you got other people sitting watching it and they agree with it. So it's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Standard's terrible.
Yeah, there we go. Paul Bristow says Sam Borrock was the ref at the G-Tech on the opening day.
Right.
So, yeah, there we go. That's that clarity.
Well, I thought he looked the same. He was wearing black.
Yeah, they all look alike. Is that what you're saying? They all look alike. Paul, come in.
Just talking on that decision that Jim's just mentioned there, I think we can probably guess and know who our favourite VAR ref was at Wolves on Saturday as well as for us yesterday. It was the most inept Mr. England, how he still has a job for referee.
Was it really? I didn't realise that.
Yeah, absolutely.
How any ref can look at that on with 15 angles and come up with a red card is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, the guy is he shouldn't be allowed anywhere near. I mean, there are referees and the referees.
So what do you advocate? Who should be sitting in the VAR room in your mind?
Well, they should have a couple of players that have played 300-400 games in the Premiership. Definitely. But then they would have to be retired guys, obviously. But yeah, I mean, the referees, from the day I first started playing, I thought they were wankers.
Jim, you said that without moving your lips. That's really impressive.
I still love it. It never gets old. Keep going, Ian. Sorry.
Well, and people were saying in the chat, someone typed that out. Actually, they didn't even use an asterisk or anything. So you know, you're well known for that comment now, Jim. But we help reminding people about it all the time. Yeah. So let's come back to the game. There was another half decent move by Palace. Again, involving Hughes and Mateta. Hughes seemed to be involved in a lot of stuff. Plays the ball wide to Tariq Mitchell, and he finds Eze on the edge of the box, and he looks up. He gets his shot away, but it lacked power, it lacked pace, and it was easily saved by Flecken, the Brentford goalkeeper. There was let me just check on my notes here. A long ball forward wasn't dealt with by Brentford very well by the centre backs, and it fell to Sarr, who carried the ball forward. He runs with the ball forward. He plays Eze in on the left-hand side, and he goes down under the challenge of Nathan Collins, I think it was, but no penalty. And where we were, at the other end of the pitch, you know, Dave Taylor next to me was screaming for a penalty. I said, sit down, Dave. I'm sure you haven't seen it properly. And sure enough, it was never a pen in a million years. And then Sarr fizzed one across the box after a sort of quite a lot of players involved in the move. And again, you know, you just want someone on the far stick to put it in, but it wasn't to be. So, you know, we're creating problems for Brentford. I think we probably created more problems for them in the first half than they created for us. You know, there's the Lerma long throw. I say long throw. It's a sort of medium throw, isn't it? It's not that long. But we tend to employ that tactic yesterday. Just trying to cause problems for them, and a couple of times they clear it most of the time, but a couple of times it did cause a few problems in their box where, you know, the ball's bouncing about, and frankly, when it's bouncing about in the 6-yard box, it can go absolutely anywhere, can't it? So I'm not sure whether that's a tactic we want to employ long term. What do we think about Lerma's long throws, guys? Any thoughts about that?
As you say, it's not especially long, is it? Let's be honest. You used to have those long throw specialists who hurl it right into the 6-yard box. Yeah, it doesn't really get anywhere, to be honest. But there's not really much more you can do with those points. They load the box, don't they, with the defence? So you might as well just try and put it in the mixer, as they say.
Yeah, he's not a Rory Delap, is he? By any stretch of the imagination, no. Did you remember Rory Delap's throws, Jim? Did you ever play against him? Was that in your time?
Yeah, no, yeah, he could launch it. But we had a player, Kenny Sampson. I mean, people don't tend to think, but Kenny could throw it to the other side of the box. He was unbelievable, his long throw. But I mean, it's a good asset. But maybe we need more people, or one or two more people in front of their defenders, just to maybe get the flick on. But quite a few of them dropped a bit short, so it's a bit of a giveaway, really. If they don't reach its spot, then you're chasing back towards your own goal. So,
yeah, I thought there were times when he did employ it, and I thought, crikey, just look for the shorter, more simple option, and get the ball into the box that way. But it wasn't to be. So yeah, so we go at 0-0 at half time. It was. I think we cancelled each other's out a bit, didn't it? Someone said it was in the chat. I saw a comment go through. It was a crap game, and both sides were below par. I mean, again, the conditions didn't help, did they? And so, I think Neil was probably fair enough at half time. And I don't know, did we shade it? But it doesn't really matter whether we did or we didn't. It's 0-0. That's the stat that counts the most. So we get on the ball early in the second half. Eze is on the ball again. I'm not having this that Eze is not a good player anymore, or should be dropped. It's a ridiculous comment, frankly. Paul, you had a stat for us that he created more chances than any other player in the Premier League this weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, I saw it online today. He created 5 big chances, and they had a whole list, and there was no one had got more than that all match. I said the other week, we all know what Eze can do. He's not playing at his fluent best at the moment, but I said the other week I would keep playing him because he's even not playing well. He's still involved in a lot of our big moments, and I think he's got the most assists. Or second most assists in the team this season. So yeah, it would be nice. As we said earlier, you'll come to a point in the second half. There was one point he tried to take people on. He won a free kick, but there was one time in the first half where he got into their half, and then he just suddenly stopped and was just like, as they calmed down. It's just like we just want that little bit more urgency from him. But as I say, he's still key to the team. So I think we've just got to hopefully play him back into some confidence and get him back on the front foot as you can get him. But while he's still having an impact, you got to keep playing him.
Yeah, you have. You have. And that moment in the first half when he was running forward in space and he stopped and slowed down and turned around and looked, what am I going to do with this? And he passed it backwards or sideways. that's frustrating. But, as I said, start of the second half, he found Lerma on the edge of the box. Lerma got a shot away. It was on target, And I don't mind people shooting from the edge of the box and the keeper saving them, because sooner or later they're going to not save one and it will go in. And then the thing that we get frustrated by with Eberechi Eze is the fact that he doesn't dribble the ball enough. I think Palace fans want to see him pick the ball up, put his head up and dribble and glide past people like he used to. And he didn't do that very often, but he did do it once in the second half, and he got past 2 or 3. And, of course, the only way they're going to stop him is to bring him down, and they brought him down on the edge of the box. The resulting free kick almost went in as well. It wasn't the best free kick. It was low. It came off the edge of the wall, and it squirmed away and hit the post. Now, if that had gone in, it would have been lucky. But that's the kind of luck we're getting at the moment. We're not getting the breaks. The resultant free kick very nearly put us 1-0 up. Munoz then picked the loose ball up, put it in. What he was doing with his second attempt, goodness knows, it was a pathetic. I think I could have done better. He just launched it, didn't he? And he should have looked up and kept his calm a bit more. But there's the Latin South American for you in him. Sometimes a bit temperamental maybe. But we can't criticise him too much. We hit the post one end. And then the next moment, the next thing of note in the game is their efforts. They're getting forward a bit more, attacking at the White Horse Lane end. And Mbumo puts the ball across and it's headed on and it finds that, it's quite a posh player, isn't it? Lewis Potter. What's his first name? I don't know. It's got it written down here somewhere. Keane Lewis Potter. What kind of name is that for a footballer? Anyway, plays left back for Brentford. Anyway, picks the ball up. And he launches it and it's going right in the top corner. It really is going in. And Henderson has to get up and deal with it, which he does. Good effort, good save. And then we come to the big talking point. It was like Billy Smart circus, wasn't it, in the penalty area? What do you think, Jim? When we were trying to clear that ball. Can you remember what happened, Jim? Or do you want me to talk through?
I know the ball came in and then it was bouncing about. I think it was Gehi trying to smack it and hit Will Hughes' hands.
So that was the first appeal, wasn't it? That was the first appeal.
People screaming for a penalty. But, I mean, like, his hands are there in front of his body. I mean, it doesn't. If it hadn't hit his hands, it would have hit his chest.
Yeah, but, absolutely. Yeah.
We didn't deal with it properly, did it? And then, obviously, I mean, I felt sorry for Lacroix a little bit because it was one of them he had to go for, but it was a nothing situation. But when something like that happens, then it's obviously he's going to give a penalty.
And he's going away from the goal, isn't he? That Collins, the Brentford player, is going away.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just because he's stuck his foot out and hit him basically without really hitting him. I mean, he's almost trying to pull back but the referees are going to give penalties for that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and just before that time, Mitchell had an opportunity to clear, and he sort of just kicked it up in the air. It was laughable. It really was. It was real Billy Smart circus stuff. But Paul, penalty for you? Yes or no?
Yeah, in this day and age, as I say, whether we like it or not, Hughes would have been given a handball. I mean, they'll claim that putting your hands like that is not a natural, even in front of your body. Darren England would have jumped at a chance to give that. So, and again, as Jim says, the Qua's tackle was soft, but this day and age, you just got to touch them in the box. They'll fly over like they've been shot, and you'll get a penalty. So between the two incidents, I think it was sadly a penalty.
Yeah, but you can't say that, can you? You can't really say between the two.
I know you're not adding them up, but one of them would have been given. Yeah. If one hadn't, the other one would.
Well, I don't see. I think I don't think the handball would have been given, in as much as Gay's cleared it, and Hughes has sort of stopped it being cleared. You know, it was an advantage to Brentford.
You just described the penalty. He stopped it being cleared. So it's a ridiculous rule, as you say, but that's the rule with handball these days. It's yeah.
There we go. But anyway, so he's given for the foul by Lacroix, and he's already on a yellow card. You know, I mean, the ref could have said, "Well, you fouled him. I'll book you again." He didn't do that, thankfully. But he gives the penalty, and whatever we say about it, it's soft, isn't it? It's a soft penalty, you know. But if it's the other way round, you want it given, and it's probably the right decision, Paul.
Yeah, I'd say it's avoidable rather than soft.
Avoidable. Okay, it's an interesting word. Penalty was soft. People are saying in the chat. Penalty day, definitely a penalty. Yeah, I mean, we're not arguing about that. We're saying it's a penalty kick. Fine. So let's come to the penalty kick. And Bumo, he's got a good record from the spot. You know, he's well thought of. He doesn't often miss, but he missed on this occasion. He took his little run up, his little stutter, and he hits it with his left foot, and he hits the left hand upright, and it bounces straight back out again. Now, Paul, what happens if Gahey doesn't touch that ball and it goes to Mbumo next?
Well, we get a free kick. I mean, this is the unfortunate part about it. I mean, as you can see from the picture, Gahey is encroaching, but if the ball goes in, it's not going to count. If Gahey has no impact on anything, it's not going to count. But yeah, the minute the ball hits the post and comes back, it's literally on Mbomo's foot. By instinct, he's going to try and kick it, just like by instinct, Gahey's going to try and defend it. But obviously, as you know, a set piece taker can't touch the ball twice in a row. So if he had done it, it would have been a free kick to us. Obviously, Gahey can't think about that at this time. He's just doing his job. But it's just a bit unfortunate that he got there that second he did. If he'd been a second later, we probably would have got a free kick.
Yeah, I absolutely. And I just think it was just unfortunate. Clearly Mark Gahey kind of had time to think about the rules of the game and the consequences of it. And he did what comes naturally to a defender. You know, he got in and cleared his lines. Jim, you would have done the same thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think any player would do. I mean, you can't stand there thinking, "Oh, we'll come back out to him and he'll whack it back in the net and we'll get a free kick." But he just went a little bit too early. That's all. I mean, and it was minimal. You know, like inches probably by the time he kicked the ball and he put his foot on that over that semicircle. So yeah, it was unfortunate, but you don't know. I mean, Mbumo might have left it because there was another guy running in behind him that could have sort of. We're all guessing that he would have just whacked it straight back in. So it was the right decision in the end.
Okay, so Nick first, then Paul.
Two quickies. Jim, Mark Callaghan saying in the chat, didn't you once shove a Brighton player over in the box when they were taking a penalty and had to be retaken? Do you remember that?
No, I don't actually. No.
Yeah, I didn't think you would somehow. Selective. The other thing was I was going to ask you a question. I took a picture yesterday from the Homesdale Road end up on the big screen. That picture there, that encroachment sign, has anybody ever seen that used before? Because I mean, maybe I've never looked out for it before, but I've never seen possible encroachment come up as a VAR check before. Has anybody else?
I'm not sure I have, actually. I'm not sure I have.
They put on the screen what they're looking at. So if we've not had an encroachment issue, then they won't put it up there. When it's an offside goal, it comes up with that screen that says check.
I haven't seen it anywhere else. That was before.
No, well, I can't think of any VAR penalties this season that have been retaken for encroachment.
I mean, let's face it, not many are missed, are they? And bounce back again.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, you know. Anyway, Paul, you wanted to make a point.
Yeah, but the other thing I think is a bit unfair is it's not really fair on defenders, this encroachment stuff, simply because the way players run up now with this stop. I mean, the law is they're not allowed to stop. Now, they'll argue their ankle is moving a split second or whatever, but it doesn't give a defender a chance to know when he can go into the box. And I think something probably needs to be taken that into account, because if you say you're going to run in as the player's running, if the player suddenly stops, you can't suddenly stop and reverse back outside. It's one of those problems with the law that
the counter side of that, of course, is if they're stopping enhancing the rule for encroachment, that must apply to the attacking team as well. So if the ball goes in the net and VAR decides there's 3 of their players in the box, isn't that encroaching as well?
Well, I thought Wissa was encroaching as well. I don't know if we can get that picture back, Nige, can we, of the penalty, the still, where he was about to take the spot kick. There's quite a few other Palace players encroaching. Where is Wissa? Yeah, you see, Wissa is at the far side, just behind Gahey in that picture. And he might just be outside, actually, the D, but he's only just, and you can see he's just ready to go into
it. He doesn't interfere with play here. So my question is, had that first penalty go in, would the VAR have called it back for Wissa encroaching?
I don't know about that, but the thing about encroachment is that you've got to be impacting play. So what they said about Mark Gahey was that he was impacting play because he got to the ball to stop a Brentford player touching it next to put it in the goal. But who was he interfering with? He wasn't interfering with Mbumo, because Mbumo can't touch it, in theory. So it was Wissa and at the 27, Janelt, I think, were the other 2 players that were near and possibly could have got to the ball first. But we don't know whether they would have got to the ball first, because it's academic, because Gay was encroaching more than they were. So, yeah, I mean, we celebrated the penalty miss like we scored a goal almost, and then it was short-lived. Disappointing, of course. And it's not something we see very often, is it? I mean, I can't think of another incident this season in the Premier League where that's happened. But retaken, to retake the kick was the decision, and retaking it was. And this time he puts the ball the other side of Henderson, and their players are celebrating before he's even kicked it. So that was talked about as well, which I think is neither here nor there, really. I think it's just one of those things. So, we're 1-0 down on 66 minutes, I think it was. Disappointing. And once you're 1 down against a team like Brentford, I mean, there's not much between these sides. There wasn't in the away game. I think 5 of the 7 league games up until before yesterday were draws anyway. So that's how close it's been between the 2 sides in the last 3 or 4 seasons. Once you're 1 down, it's hard then to get back into it. And inevitably, we're just pushing up, trying to get that goal back. So there was what happened next sort of thing. Lacroix, he got caught for Brentford. Well, what am I talking about? I'm lost my way on my notes. Sorry about this, guys. There was. I mean, before they scored the second goal, Nketiah came on for Sarr. I don't know what you think about that decision, Paul. Right decision to replace Sarr, do you think?
Well, yeah, I think it's more precautionary. Obviously, he came off the week before because he had a tight hamstring. It's probably just save you try for some fresh legs, and obviously don't risk anyone that's got any issues.
Mm-hmm. And Nketiah got some minutes yesterday, which was good. But before we know it, we're 2-0 behind. We're trying to push up and get the goal back, not creating very much. And it was Damsgaard, he crossed the ball, and their centre forward, Sharder, is it? Scores with a header, and him and Richards clash heads, and it goes in the net. I thought it was a good goal, actually. I can't fault that. We let the cross go in, but it's not always easy, is it, to stop these things? We're 2-0 down on 80 minutes, and then there was quite a long stoppage in play, wasn't there? Because of the injuries. And I don't know about Richards. I mean, is it a bad injury, do we think? He's gone off with a head injury there. Paul, you're shaking your head.
No, I think he was good, but he was coming back on to carry on. I think it was just a bang of the head.
Ian, you missed that picture that was on screen. That phase of play before the goal. There it is.
Yeah.
There. You know what you're looking at there?
No, go on. You talk me through this then, Nick.
Okay, so this is the phase of play that leads up to the goal. From here, they score.
Handball.
Look at the second player, the second Brentford player from the left. Okay.
Oh yes.
The question is that handball in that first phase of play?
Yeah, but it's not given, is it? So it's the matter, is it? Whether it was or whether it wasn't.
So VAR look to concentrate on an encroachment and not looking at the handballs. It just makes a mockery of the whole thing, doesn't it not? Jim, am I clutching at straws here?
Well, yes.
Yes. All right, okay. I'll shut the fuck up then. I'm sorry, move on.
Yeah, red card for that, Nick. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The guy looked like he'd handballed it, but it wasn't given, and they carry on. Yeah, there we go. So we're 2-0 down, and at 2-0, I just said game over then, and quite a few people left the ground then, and they were saying cheerio, cheerio, and we did the same. We did the same at West Ham the other week, so this kind of stuff happens in football, but. The young boy from Millwall, Romain Esse, comes on for Hughes, and Kamada comes on for Richards. So we got, a bit more attacking threat with those two players compared to the players that have gone off. And then I want to just talk about the goal because, Esse played a significant part in this goal. He made that goal. The ball was bouncing about a bit. I timed it from the kickoff to the time the ball went in the back of the net. Any idea how long it was? Any idea in the chat? How long? Put your guesses in the chat, and I'll tell you in a minute. All right. So Lerma, he plays the ball forward. So first of all, it's Henderson gets the ball back from Eze from the kickoff, launches it forward. They clear it. Lerma then puts it forward. He puts it into space on the left hand side, and Eze manages to get to the ball first, and he still has a lot to do. And he takes it backwards, and he looks up, and he finds a beautiful ball into the box to the far post. Finds Danny Munoz in a forward position, crosses it for Romain Esse with his first touch of the ball. He's not been on the pitch seconds, 27 seconds, 30 seconds, John Knox says. Good guess, Paul Holden, 24. 27 seconds. Paul Bristow, spot on. I bet he timed it like I did. What you like? How can you get it spot on? That's ridiculous. 27 seconds was the time from the kickoff to the ball hitting the back of the net. And I don't think there's been a faster debutant goal ever.
We can prove that. Let us interrupt you right now. Nigel, go. And there it is. So there is your record on the 26th of January.
Oh, he says it's 30 seconds. Is my watch wrong?
Now, just to let you know, Ian, and it's just to put some meat on the bone with this, so you can see the whole lineup there. This has not been fact checked by Red and Blue Review. This has been taken off social media. I've got no reason to dispute it, mind you, because it looks pretty accurate. So if that is the case, and that is 30 seconds, it's still a record.
Oh, but it's probably 3 seconds for him to take the kickoff, wasn't it? He's on the pitch for I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. 30 seconds.
No.
It's somebody kicks it, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm not having that. Odson Edouard set a record when he scored for Palace after 28 seconds on his debut.
Did he?
It was a Premier League record as well.
Well, so this one beat it, though, did it?
No, he was 28 seconds. If that's been classed as 30, he won't have beat it.
Well, I timed it myself, and I thought it was 27, but I'm going to go back and retime it again now, like the sad person.
That's old. That's old.
I think we're losing the plot on this podcast somehow, but there we go. Whatever it was pretty quick. And then people on social media are criticising him for celebrating. Come on, give the 19-year-old kid a break.
Oh,
He's come off the
Did
bench.
you see? Actually, let's talk about it. Jim, have you done? I know you don't do social media much. Have you heard the slagging off the young kid got for celebrating that goal?
No, I would be
everywhere.
Any 19-year-old would be celebrating, wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't you? I know. I think you even saw Tyreek go and grab hold of him and pull him back because obviously the match is we haven't won the game. He's celebrating. He's been in the Premier League for at most 30 seconds, and he scored the goal. I mean, I must admit, from his shot that went in off the post, he did his damnedest to miss it, but he still scored the goal. Okay, and he went away and he celebrated that I've just entered the Premier League 30 seconds ago and scored a goal, and he's getting dog's abuse on social media for it. People, give your head a wobble. God's sake, he's a 19-year-old boy, for God's sake. Sorry, Ed, carry on.
Yeah, so, the game is, it gives us a chance, doesn't it? It gives us a fighting chance towards the end. And there was one other good chance, I suppose. Mark Gahey's venturing forward, quite what he was doing that far forward, I'm not sure. But he's pulled back by their player on the edge of the box. Ref wasn't giving it. He was having none of it. And it was the lino on our side of the pitch that flagged and gave the free kick. Eberechi Eze with a free kick. He's got to hit the target. Get your Rolex out here. And yeah, okay, thanks. I will, yeah. That's no good. It's rubbish for skipping time. 9 minutes of stoppage time gave us false hope. It wasn't to be. In fact, they hit the post in that 9 minutes of stoppage time as well. So wasn't good enough. I mean, I think it was okay. Glasner said afterwards it was okay. But okay wasn't good enough. Didn't cut it yesterday. We didn't move the ball as quickly as we should have done, as we would have liked. Then we lose the game 2-1. But look, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. This is our second defeat in 12 games. And if you'd said that 12 games ago, you probably would have taken it for sure. Here are the stats for the game. And look, fairly even. There's nothing in this game, is there, in terms of passes, free kicks, shots on target, total shots, possession. It's all very close, all very tight. And both sides are decent sides in the Premier League. And both sides will finish mid-table. And both sides will be there to do it all again next season. So there we go. They've taken 6 points off us, Brentford, this season. We definitely owe them next year. And both games not without controversy. So we all remember the opening day, as Jim has already reminded us of, when Eze's free kick was disallowed for no good reason. So that's my summary of the game, Nick.
Yeah, well done, mate. Good stuff. It was as well. Good stuff. And as you say, can you imagine if we had actually had those 6 points in our bag, where we would be sitting in the league right now if we had them? Lots of ifs there. Right, moving on. We've got a few bits to go to before I get to the big question at the end. Loan watch. 6 of our players are out on loan. Owen Gilman collects a clean sheet for Wimbledon, who drew 0-0 away at their bitter rivals MK Dons. Joe Whitworth at Exeter played a full 90 minutes, letting 3 goals as they lost 3-1 at home to Blackpool. Danny Emery was taken off in the 90th minute for Bromley, who they drew 1-1 with Notts County. Jez, back from injury for Sheffield United, came off the bench in the 65th minute, but they lost 3-0 at home. Shock result, really, that one, at home to Hull City. Amulu stayed on the bench for Port Vale. They drew 1-1 away at Chesterfield. And Asher, he wasn't in the squad for Gillingham as they played at Tranmere Rovers. Other results from other teams. The under-21s played on Monday night, Division 1 Premier League, and they went down 1-0 to Wolves. Wolves at home. On Saturday, and the training ground, the under-18s played Spurs and they drew 1-1. Today at the training ground, the under-21s played Norwich City. Palace were 2-0 up. I watched a lot of this game. Palace were 2-0 up in awful conditions over at Beckenham. They ended up drawing the game 2-2. Others, so we covered that. Lucy Usher, guys, you're going to have to bear with me a minute because I need to refer to my phone. Lucy has sent us a message, okay, and it's the wonderful, talented, gorgeous Lucy Usher has had a message through from the local scout group fundraising at a Palace game. The local scout group, they love the podcast, and they said the first Crystal Palace scout group are based not far from Selhurst Park, near the Crystal Palace Triangle, and they do lots of work for charity. They send a group of kids regularly, once every 5 years, over to Gambia to help with lots of local charities over there. This year, they're trying to build a roof or something on one of the local schools. So they're going to be at the game. But the trouble is they're giving us all this information, but they haven't told us what game. I presume it's the next game that they're going to be at. If you see them outside the ground, folks, please give them a bit of support. Okay. Now, Nigel, if you'd be so kind, I want to put that picture back up of Glasner standing at the dugout, please, because it's going to form the basis of this discussion. Gentlemen, okay, I fear we have there, yes, the weather was crap. Yes, the performance was crap. I worry, okay, this is coming from me and no other member of the Red and Blue Review team people out there, so I want your comments. It could be me losing the plot, but that cuts a figure of a broken man. I worry that people keep saying it's the chairman's fault for this, it's the chairman's fault for that, it's Dougie Freedman's fault to be able to sign this player or that player. Well, he made it quite clear, the manager made it quite clear before this transfer window opened that he wanted our business done rapid, sharp, get it done, get him in the squad. We need bodies in, even though it was only going to be 2 bodies. Well, we have one of the bodies in. I presume that was a Glasner signing. I am concerned that when we got Mr. Glasner, he came. I know he was on guard leave at the point. He'd left Wolfsburg. He'd walked out on Wolfsburg for the very same reason that he wasn't backed in the transfer window. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my question to you is, I worry that Mr. Glasner is going to walk very soon, okay? There's going to be plenty of opportunities for him to better himself in the Premier League. No more than, let's just touch on one. The Tottenham job will be available soon, and he's a talented manager. We know we've probably got, other than Steve Coppell, we've probably got the best manager in our history on board now, and we are not backing him. We are not supporting what he wants. Do we run the risk of losing Oliver Glasner? Paul?
I don't think he'll walk, but it wouldn't surprise me if another option came up that if he would certainly be more interested in it than he might have been. As I said before the show, and as I said on this show before, I've never understood why we leave it so late. He made it quite clear in the summer he wasn't that happy that it took so long to get players in. At the very first press conference of this year, he said that the club had committed to buying 2 players. They knew the players, they just needed to get it done. Now, how we've got through the whole month, we've played 5 or 6 games that we could have had extra players for. We've got 1 game left of the window, and we still have only got 1 player in, and even that took longer than it should have. As I say, there must be a reason. I don't think Parish and Freedman are stupid. There must be a reason they do this. I'd love to know what it is, just to shut me up almost. But I do find it incredible that when you've got a manager pleading so regularly on public forums and probably to them saying, look, get these players in early, how it takes so long. As I say, you run the risk of moves being hijacked. By all accounts, we've had a second bid for the left-back chap today, Juve. Our first bid was 2 weeks ago. Why we've had to wait 2 weeks to make a second bid is beyond me. Yeah, and it's going to frustrate the manager, especially when he's made it clear he wants them earlier. As I say, I'd love to know the reason for it, and it's going to frustrate him. But yeah, we've wasted games. We could have had extra reinforcements for 3 or 4 of these games if we'd done our business early. But yeah, I'd love to know why.
On the subject of Diouf, you're talking about El Hadji Malik Diouf. Called it away just before we came on air this evening. The headline reads, it now seems that Brighton have one more deal and we'll try and complete it this week. Brighton could complete a £15 million signing ahead of Crystal Palace. This comes from his agent, the defender El Hadji Malik Diouf has reportedly explained that Brighton could seal the deal to land his client in what would be a record sale for Slavia Prague. I'm telling you now, boys, if that happens and he's clearly been a target of ours right the way through this window, and we're we're screwing about over £2 million. Okay, I worry about the manager. Read what Lee Lockwood has just said in the chat. He said, I've been saying this for a while back now. Okay, if you don't back him, he's off. He's not someone like Roy Hodgson that the club can exploit. Jim, do you think there's any danger of what I'm saying, or am I still talking dribble?
Some dribble, yeah. But you're looking at a manager standing on the touchline there, spent 90 minutes looking at a crap game and pissing down rain. Of course, he's not going to be standing there smiling, is he? He's like, all I hear is, he'll walk. Like, nobody knows what he's going to do. I'll tell you what, some amazing people on forums on this programme, he'll go, he's not happy. You don't know him. Well, Paul might know him, he's sort of had pictures taken with him, so, but nah, I can't see him going. And, the transfer system doesn't suit us in the sense that we probably want to wait until the last minute and get somebody for £1 million cheaper. But I don't know. We need one or two players in, definitely, and I'm sure they'll come. But you can't tell me that if you'd have got one 2 weeks ago, made a difference to us on Sunday. I mean, there's only a 3-week window for the January one, so it's not going to make a difference if you got a player 2 weeks ago to now. Not at all.
7 days, 2 hours, and 22 minutes left of the transfer window. Ian, can you, if he doesn't get back to the next 7 days, can you see it?
No, I can't, Nick. I really can't. I can't see Oliver Glasner walking away from Crystal Palace. Certainly not in this window. He doesn't sound like a man that has got anything but focus on his job in hand to lead this football club for the remainder of the season. What happens in the summer, I couldn't tell you. I've no idea. It's too far away to speculate. And I share Paul's frustration, and everyone else's. We want these players in. We know who we want, and we try and get them. But what we don't know is the hard ball that the other clubs are playing, their agents are playing, and in this case of the Juve guy, maybe that's just the case. Maybe it's the agent saying you're not going for that money. You need to negotiate more for your salary or whatever it is, and we just don't know the details. And I don't doubt, maybe I'm a bit naive, I don't know, but I don't doubt that Dougie Freeman is working his balls off at the moment to try and get players across the line if Oliver Glasner wants them. He's not going to, they work as a team. You hear Steve Parish interviewed, he talks about the relationship between the sporting director and the manager, and you hear Glasner interviewed, and he says the same thing. And if you haven't heard that Steve Parish interview, by the way, it's a long one. With that McCormack guy, really worth listening to. We've got a chairman that loves this football club as much as we do. He watched Crystal Palace from the age of 4 years old. He's put his money into the club. He's living the dream, isn't he? In many ways. But he is really a fan. Not every Premier League club can say that. So I'm backing Steve Parish. I'm backing Oliver Glasner. And we'll just have to see where it takes us in the next 7 days and hours that you said. But I don't think there's a problem, Nick. I think, you're overthinking it, my friend.
Interesting. I note this evening that Manchester United have made a second query for Tyreek Mitchell. He's actually their second choice target. They're looking at, I think it's a player from Vienna, I believe it was anyway. But Tyreek is actually, but they are in touch with Dougie Freeman over Tyreek Mitchell, and the figure is 50 million quid that they're talking about. Would you let him go for 50 million quid? Paul, you got your hand up. Answer that and raise your point.
Tyreek was out for 50 million quid.
Yeah.
You're not going to get, if he's out of contract in the summer, you're not going to get 50 million quid for him now. We can't afford to sell him anyway. I like Tyreek Mitchell anyway, but we can't afford to sell him without another left back anyway. But as I say, that's another story. I can't believe if he's out. There's rumours he has signed another contract in the past, and it's just not been announced. I can't believe Palace would be letting him go into the last 3 months of his contract. He's a saleable asset, so that's a strange one. But the other thing I was going to say, I think Dawn mentioned earlier, with our speed of transfer, obviously with the 2 injury news we've had today, we've lost a centre back and a midfielder probably for the remainder of the season. they could ideally be being replaced. Now we've got a week left of the transfer window. To say, if we're still trying to focus on the second of the two we were going to buy, we're never going to fit another one in. If we'd have got these two done earlier, we could have had time to go and try and address that. So it's all these little things that, just to say, don't make sense to me.
Well, why can't you work on more than one player at the same time? That's crazy. You know, you can.
I think that's the bit that frustrates people more than it. You raise a great point, and that's the thing that really frustrates people. I mean, because we've been focused on Malik Diouf now for weeks, okay, and also obviously at SA, and that's all we have been focused on. I'm just going to put some meat on the bones that. From what Paul just said, Crystal Palace centre-back Chadi Riyad has suffered a suspected ACL injury. The 21-year-old is set to miss a long-term period with his knee problem. They're talking about, anterior cruciate ligament is what they're saying. And following on from that, there is now emerging concerns that the midfielder Chet Decoria is also facing a long spell on the sideline with a knee injury. In revealing Riyad had suffered an injury last week, Glasner has now disclosed that Decoria was suffering with a knee complaint too, undisclosed, as Ian pointed out earlier on. So that makes us minus 2 players from the one that we're looking at. So it still leads me back to my original question. How is he thinking? What's in his mindset? Ian, you got your hand up, mate?
I just want to come in on the Tariq Mitchell point. Glasner was asked about Tariq last week in a press conference, and he said, Tariq's not spoken to me. If there was any truth in this, he would have had a conversation with me, and he hasn't. So we got that from him last week. Now, that was then. This is now. If Man United have seriously approached us for Tariq Mitchell, and the price is 50 million, I'd say, probably 50 million for Mitchell. But you can't let him go without a replacement. So if Diouf came in and then Man United said, look, 50 million for Mitchell, someone else said in the chat, I'll drive him there myself. I think it'll be a good deal for us if we sold him for that. I don't want to see him go, by the way. I'm not saying I want him out or anything, but that would be good business for us, surely. Nick, you're muted. Oh, you're still muted. You're still muted.
Mark Callaghan said in the chat that Wharton had a setback from his operation. It's not good either. That's actually not accurate, mate. He's back in training. He had a minor setback, but it was only minor. If you look at all the training videos from the club put out last week, he's back on the grass and he's training. He's not ready to come back to the first team action yet, but he's training again. So that's not quite right, Mark. Paul, you had your hand up?
Yeah. No, I was just going to echo probably something I said earlier. You can't turn down any 50 million for any player who's only got 3 months of his contract left, and then, which is why, as I say, I can't. But it would be incredibly negligent of Crystal Palace if they want Tariq Mitchell to not, or if they don't, offer him a contract so we can sell him for some money. I can't believe we're just going to let him walk out the door. So he's either got a contract on him or we should be offering him one. I don't see any logical reason why we wouldn't be. It's a strange situation, that one.
Well, that's the thing about Mark Gahey, isn't it, as well? I'd like to think that Mark Gahey would sign a new contract with us so that it bumps his price up, because all the time he's running it down, is less of a valuable asset to us. And yet we've made Mark Gahey into the player he is. All right, so he's made himself into that player, but we've given him that opportunity when Chelsea wouldn't. We're at risk in the summer of selling him for half the price we could have sold him last summer. If we'd gone through that deal with Newcastle, and he's one player I think will go, in the summer.
Okay, and again, I'm reading the comments from the chat. Keith Parker, good evening, Keith. Hope you're all right, mate. He's asking a question on Mateus Franca. Ditto my last comments from Mark Callaghan. Franca is also, or Franca, sorry, it's Franca, not Franca. Franca is also in full training. I'm waiting for him to break down again, of course, because we know he's made of glass. But Franca is also back in full training and was also in the training videos from last week. So, guys, keep your eyes on Palace's in-house social media because you do get some good comment on there. and you do get some good videos. And that they were focusing on Essay, of course they were, but of course playing in the background all the other players, and both of them, both Wharton and France were on the pitch in training. Again, clearly not ready for match fitness. Anything else we need to add on the possibility of the manager, Ian?
No, I don't think so. I just think, as I said earlier, I think you're overthinking it a bit. I don't think it's going anywhere. And as Jim quite rightly said, if your team's 2-0 down at home and you're soaking wet and you're wet through and you're thinking about what you're going to be doing later that evening, you're not going to be looking too happy, are you? You're going to be looking pretty miserable, especially in the manner of the way we conceded the goals yesterday, with the penalty retake and everything else. So I think we're reading too much into it.
I'm not worried about what he's doing last night. I'm more concerned about what he's doing in the summer. Paul, final thoughts on the summer?
Keith Parker's put there about Parish and Co. as shrewd cookies. They know what they're doing. Like I say, no one more than me hopes they shut me up and they sign 2 players by next Monday. And like I say, I'll still have an issue with the timing, but if they bring the players in at the end of the day, fair play.
Cool. Nigel, up-and-coming fixtures, please, mate. So we'll move on to another question. Thank you for all your thoughts and comments in the chat. I can see them all, and I'm reading every single one of them. Okay, so coming up next weekend, those who travel up to Old Trafford, I'll be up in Manchester myself, but I won't be at the game. That's on Sunday at 2:00. Is that? I presume that's live on Sky, is it?
No, it's not on TV. It's not on TV. No. Hang on, Nick. You're in Manchester, but you're not going to the game.
I'm actually in Preston, babysitting my granddaughter, mate, so I can't make the game.
Okay, so that's understandable. Because if you were in Manchester and you weren't going, I think that would be a bit bonkers. But still,
I've got a little 6-year-old in tow, I'm afraid. So the following week we've got the FA Cup tie away at Doncaster Rovers. Good luck to everybody travelling up there as well. Again, a long trip, and fair play to each and every one of you making the trip. Saturday, the 15th of February, 5:30 kickoff, which is live on Sky. Home to Everton. That could be quite a good game, quite an important game. Hopefully see a bit of daylight between us and Everton. Then we're away at Fulham. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Home to Villa and home to Ipswich. So lots of points available there. The Fulham game, ladies and gentlemen, there are still a few seats. I know it's going to be a cold February morning, but there are a few seats left on Grant's boat. Get hold of Grant Saunders on his social medias or message him direct. Tell him Nick sent you along. I will be on board that day. I don't suppose any of you three are going to be on. Jim, I know you're not going. Ian, Paul, you're not coming on the boat, are you?
Not on the boat. No, I'll be at the game, but not on the boat.
You miserable bastards, all of you.
I'm going to be in a nice posh pub in Putney, I think. That's where I'm going.
Posh pub in Putney, eh? Okay, well, plastic. So you should be on the board having a good sing-song with the rest of us. It'll be a good day out. Those of you who haven't done it before, get on board, give Grant a shout. I'm sure he's got some, I think there's about a dozen tickets left or something stupid like that. We're going back to the slightly smaller boat from last year. 2 bars, plenty of staff. And it's a good laugh and good way to start your day on the pre-Fulham game. I think we're going to give you a final thoughts. Give me one final positive thought, please, because we have had some negative comments. Ian, I want yours first. We'll come to that in a second, Nige. Give me a positive thought for going forward over the next 7 days.
Romain Esse. I think he's going to be a great player for us and a great signing. So he's my only positive from yesterday. I commented as much on my Twitter, and he's going to be a good player for us. So there's my positive. Sir
James, one positive from you, please, mate.
I don't know if it's a positive. I'd like to see our home form get to the same level as our away form.
Yeah, we've only had 2 wins at home all season. Am I right, Stato?
Yeah, in the Premier League, yeah. 2 cup wins.
And one positive from you, Paul?
Yeah, we've only lost 3 games since the end of October, so it's not all doom and gloom. It was an unfortunate performance and result yesterday, but yeah, we're going next week to Old Trafford. Hopefully, going to extend our record and go 8 away games in a row unbeaten.
Lovely. And Nigel, up next show, please. I believe it's a week today. Am I right? Yeah, I am. We will be back on Monday, the 3rd of February at 8:00 on transfer deadline day. Folks, a note for your diary. If we are actually looking as though we're going to do some business, I'm quite happy to extend that show on next Monday, because that's obviously when it closes. So I think it closes at 11:00 that night. So if there's something not likely to develop, I'll either extend the show that evening or I'll come back on later in the evening. Those of you who are going up there, I understand, up to Manchester next weekend. I understand there's issues on the Avanti line trains. I believe there's a problem. Anybody, Ian, can you give me any update on that?
Yeah, only as much as, if I'm not going. I've bailed on this now because the Avanti trains are so bad. They've cancelled them all. They're striking. And the trains that do run will be absolutely rammed and declassified. So I've decided to bail. I know Paul's still going to the game. What are your travel arrangements, Paul?
Yeah, I'm driving up now. So, yeah, we pretty much confirmed today our train tickets are not going to be.
Well, I'll meet you on the motorway, mate, because I'm driving up as well. Okay, but not for the game. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, Ian Noble, Paul Gear, and of course, Sir Jim Cannon. We love you all. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you all next week. Take care. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night.